Hello world, you just tuned in to Brother to Brother. It's the talk show that's sweeping the nation. My name is Jeremy Williams. This is Chris Williams, my brother from the same mother and the same father. We want to say hello and big what's up to all our family and the people that are tuning in on Facebook Live. What's up? We see y'all, man. Love y'all. We want you to send in your feedback. We got a live Facebook feed going on as well as recording here in the studio. We want to also let you know that we're getting ready to do a live studio. Right now we have some people in the studio that are here supporting us. We love you. We thank God for you. But if you want to be a part of our studio audience, we're going to send you that information. We're going to give you the times and the dates, and you'll be able to come in, ask questions, and be a part of the brother-brother experience. Chris, I'm excited about the topic today, man.
You know what? I'm even more excited about that. Michelle Gilder and Sandra Pink just signed in. But Michelle Gilder, you know her. She's an awesome, fabulous woman.
All
right. And we are so happy to have everybody tuning in. Hey, but before we start the broadcast today, on our last session, we had some questions that were posed by some of our listeners. And Alicia Huey wrote a question I think is very profound. She said, what are some keys, and I'm going to put this on you, what are some keys for getting past yourself? You remember our last conversation, we've been talking about moving into success, moving past fear, moving past the things that hold us up. So she was listening and she said, what are some keys to getting past yourself?
The first thing that helped me get past myself, and still that I utilize every day in getting past myself, Alicia, is that first of all, I'm honest with myself. I list all of the negative things. I actually took a pen and a piece of paper and I sat down on my couch. I turned the TV off, turned everything off, the computer, put my phone down, and I made two lists. I made a list of everything that I did not like about myself. I made a list of things that people have told me that love me. Not criticism, but I'm talking about like you. And you was like, Jeremy, you know what? You're pretty inconsiderate. You're inconsiderate. Son of a, I'm like, whoa, take it easy. So I wrote down some of the things that people that love me have said, hey man, you need to work on this, you need to work on this. And then on the opposite side, Alicia, what I did, I began to write down opposite actions. So whenever I'm confronted with, just say, a situation where I'm used to going off with my anger, on the next column I said, okay, now, from now on when this happens, I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to be offended. I'm going to listen first. You know, I started making steps like that. So I had a list of actions, negative behaviors, and then how I was going to, contradict those negative behaviors. And let me tell you, Chris, it worked. I know it sounds corny, but it works because anything that you write down with your hand is actually written down on your mind.
Oh, wow, man.
Anything that you write down with your hand, there is a opposite, imagine an opposite internal hand, and it's etching it on the consciousness and subconsciousness of your brain. Now, not to get too deep, but I want you to know, anything that you write down becomes a part of you. So when I wrote those behaviors down and how I was going to react, it actually made an indention and an impression in my life. And remember this, anything that you can do for 21 days either makes or breaks a habit. So try for 21 days. At the end of 21 days, evaluate and start over again. It's not going to happen overnight.
Absolutely, man. And I do want to give a shout out in that answer, and that's a great answer. Alicia, I hope that helped you. Hello, Ken Porter, Chelsea Tyler, and Tanya Price. You know, y'all are tuning in Facebook Live, man, and we're doing some awesome things. I just want to let you know we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can in these segments, and come back. And so if we don't get everything, we will definitely review those questions and come back and answer them in the next segment. But we do want to come in and answer another question, Jeremy, and I'm going to put it on you again. Artisha Lofton wrote, people will be so dishonest with themselves that they begin to believe what they've said to themselves. Man, it's a powerful statement. Talk to that. Can you talk to that, the self-truths and the self-lies that we tell ourselves that end up becoming truths that we that we live in?
Well, from experience, Chris, and I'll say this, brother to brother, we're honest with ourselves. There's a difference between dishonesty, lying, and a compulsive liar. I think it's a progression. Dishonesty could be knowing the truth but not acknowledging the truth. That's dishonest. And that's generally how it starts. Then you can go to a full-out lie. And then when you start believing your lies, Miss Lofton, I love what you said. Then you become compulsive liar because it becomes a part of your consciousness. It becomes a part of your psyche. And once you do that, then it's hard to walk in greatness. Let me just slow it down like you said. It's hard to walk in greatness because you can actually create a lying lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
That's opposite of who you're supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
And so it starts with dishonesty, then it starts to an outright direct lie, and then you get into a compulsion where you start creating fantasies and falsehoods that totally take you the opposite direction of your greatness.
You know, and we were addressing this question in the break, and Pastor Sharp said something that I think is so profound, that the creator and the maker of a thing is the only entity, a power, a person that can define the usage of a thing, the truth of a thing. And so, you know, instead of listening to lies and the compulsive nature of trying to make a falsity your truth, we should lean more to the Word of God, lean more to a place of truth. And this, you know, we do talk about the Bible. We talk about God's Word, His wisdom. Number one, He is our creator and our maker. In Jeremiah, I think it's chapter 11, where He says, these are the thoughts that I have towards you, to bring you to an expected end. And how can He say that? Because I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Before you started listening to and you began to be programmed by all of the negative messages that are out here in this world and the negative truths or lies that we tell ourselves, there's still an unfiltered, untainted truth that we can lean to and depend on that will tell us actually who we really are, and you can trust it. It's not manipulative, because sometimes people can tell you what they think you should hear in order to control your life. You know what I'm saying? So they'll say some things about you and try to program you with their truth, and they have no idea who you are. And so we have to lean to the Lord to allow the truth giver to tell you who you really are.
Well, Chris, that's a great segue, I feel like, into what our next topic is, our next segment. And I still see the boards lighting up. So glad you guys joined us.
Yeah,
I see you guys.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, so we're in the studio. This is a green screen behind us. This is not the finished product. It's just for digital effects. And we're looking at a big camera. So we want you guys to give us feedback. We want you to ask questions. We want you to let us know how you feel about what we're saying. Now, we're about to get into relationship management. Relationship management. And right now, the holidays are coming up. Right now, Chris, this is a time for family to come together. It's a time you got a lot of people getting married. You got people making up, breaking up. We deal with a demographic that's between the ages of 17 and 40, you know, young adults. And man, managing relationships, Chris, can falter false images of ourselves. It can foster these lies that we've heard about. Man, let me tell you this. You're not going to believe this.
Come on.
I had a bad dating relationship. Okay. I had a bad dating relationship one time, right? And it's something really small. In the heat of the moment, in the argument, this young lady told me, she called me short. Now keep in mind, I'm not the tallest man in the world, right? How tall am I, Chris? About
6 foot.
6 foot, something like that. Okay. You know, my driver's license says I'm 6'1".
Okay.
I'm not 6'1". Okay. So I might be 6 foot, maybe. But those words were so pointed and so aggressive, and it hit me right there to the heart. I was like, oh. Nobody's ever called me short before. And do you know, in that moment, Chris, from that moment on, I believed what that person said about me. When I would come around other people, I'd be looking at them like this.
Trying to
measuring myself
shoulder to shoulder,
shoulder to shoulder with other people, because somebody told me I was short. And then there one day,
Kenneth Porter said you 5'11" and a half.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you for that chime in, classmate. But check this out. In relationships, Chris, we get a lot of bad information from relationships.
Well, I think we can use what Artisha was saying in regards to what do we know about ourselves and not allowing other people to define who we are. One of the things that me and my wife, we've done in our relationship is I have a working knowledge of her weaknesses and things that she doesn't do, needs to work on. And it's been over the course of time, but you know what? She has a list also. But the thing about it is we've decided in our relationship, we will not use that list.
Wow.
We're not going to use it. We're not going to use it. I know exactly what to say to her to break her spirit, you know, to really make her feel insecure about herself. And she knows likewise what to say about me. You have to respect people. You have to love people. One of the things that I say when we talk about this, one of my 3 lifestyle statements is I will live with respect and love. I will hold on to my morals and values. And so as you enter into a relationship with someone, you want to make sure that you live with that respect and that moral, that value. You're not in that person's life to redefine who they are. You're in that person's life to learn about who they are. You know what I'm saying? You're in that person's life because somewhere in this you would hope that in a relationship that person is interesting enough to you to say, you know what, I want to find out just a little bit more about who you are. I like that. I want to find out your likes, your dislikes, and it's not to change you, but it's to embrace you and to love you, and hopefully we'll find a place in our mutual love that will help us build for one another. You know, because in a relationship, if you're in there, I won't say long enough, but if you're sincere enough in your approach, you'll find out areas where you can be a help to someone and build them up, man.
Hey, I want to ask our listening audience, those of you that are live on Facebook, I'm going to present it here in our studio audience as well. How do you know when a relationship is unhealthy? Let's just think about it for a minute. Let's just slow down. You know, like you tell me, let's slow down. How do you know when a relationship is unhealthy? Who is, you know, in the breakdown of our society, Chris, who's giving relationship advice? What about the person that doesn't know the scripture like we know it? What about the person that may not be in the Bible, believe in Bible, teaching church where they know that the Creator defines them? What do we tell these people? Because I may be in a bad relationship or unhealthy that's shaping my life, causing me to be somebody I'm not, and I not even know it.
I think one of the first things that we can evaluate in that sense, Jeremy, is manipulation. Manipulation is a huge tool that people will use to take advantage of another person.
What do you mean?
Well, as people, one of the things that we have to understand is that we were never created to control other people. That's not our function. God said this in Genesis chapter 1. He said that you should be fruitful and that you should multiply and that you should replenish. He never said that, and even in the subduing, he said you subdue the earth. You don't subdue other people. God. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be in a relationship where somebody has the motive to subdue your life. But when people lack potential, not potential, but when people lack walking in their purpose, they'll take subdue as the only thing. Instead of subduing a dream or subduing a purpose or something that they want to accomplish, they'll look out on the horizon and they'll want to subdue people. And that's the tragedy of what we've seen in our history with dictators, bad politicians and governments and greedy people. They seek to subdue people instead of building people up. And so I think one of the first things that you need to recognize or get the discernment on is, are you being manipulated to be something that you are not created to be? Is somebody in your life trying to fashion your life to overcome your life instead of being in that life to be fruitful and to help you multiply and to help you be more who you are? So one of the first things I think that we can recognize to see if you're in a bad relationship is just to make sure, and this is not where we're just talking, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. We're talking about friends too.
Friendships.
Yeah, friendships where you can get a manipulative friendship, and all they want you to do is to do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? All they want to do, man, is just make sure you're agreeing with everything they're saying. You know, you're going to do everything that I want you to do, instead of being somewhere in your life that can build you up.
Or, Chris, they're always taking from you and never adding anything to you.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about the friends that we have, mutual friends and then individual friends, classmates, is that when I leave their presence, it makes me want to do better.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend that's tuned in right now, a classmate, brother, named Kenneth Porter. And whenever I talk, you know, Kenneth is the master of certificates and degrees. Kenneth could build a refinery in his backyard if he wanted to. He knows how to do it. Every time I leave Kenneth's presence, Chris, I want to look at my career like, man, maybe I should get another certification. He pushes me to be better. You have friends like that. You have people in your life like that. So whenever I leave a friend or whenever I'm in a relationship, I want to know, what does this person add to my life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Value added, it should be the objective of all our relationships. You know what I'm saying? Now, we don't, you know, I really too, and I say the word don't like. I don't like those people that judge other people so much. They're like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing. They ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? They're against me. You know, I can't get nothing from them. They got, man, no, that's not the deal. You know, that's not the way that you should approach that. You should look at this like, overall in my life, because I have a sense of my purpose and values and where I'm going. Is somebody in line with that? You know, is there a friendship? Like we said it the other day, there are friends in our life that, you know, they're not on the same path. They're not trying to preach, you know, and motivate. Hey, man, these cats, man, you know, they have a different objective in their life. Their life is on a totally different path. Do we disrespect them? No, because you know what? We still have an angle and a need for your camaraderie and your brotherhood and your sisterhood. And we say to you that you're important. We need to, you know, I believe if more people could just create an environment in their own psyche, in their minds, that people are important. We are important to one another. Man, we're all we have. We're all we have, man. When you look at it, you're all you have. Your brother, your sister, you're all you have. In my family, we have my household, we have this little plaque on the wall or something like that. And it says, as a part of this family, you will be loved. As a part of this family, your dreams will be acknowledged. As a part of this family, you will receive random acts of kindness because you are a part of this family. We are all part of the human race. We're all humans. We bleed the same blood. And so we got to have this idea and this concept about ourselves, a truth, that as I walk out, I don't prejudice. You know, I'm not trying to separate. But as part of the human family, you will be loved. As part of the human family, your dreams will be respected. As part of the human family, you may receive a random act of kindness. And I think if more people can do that, we'll find relationships that are strong.
Well, Chris, society is set up, and this, again, is brother to brother, and we're raising social awareness, and we're talking about relationships right now. Society is anti-family. You know, God deals with us as family. He could have called us a team. He could have called us a squad. God could have called us a gang. He could have, you know, gang, team, you know. But he refers to us as a family. And I've come to grow, in our path to greatness, I've come to learn that family goes beyond DNA. When we started this show, Brother to Brother, it's not just because we're biologically brothers, but we are connected to a lot of other brothers who share the same concept, who add value to our lives. And so our listeners out there, and people on Facebook Live, they're going berserk right now. They're tuning in, Chris, because in your pursuit to greatness, you have to define family. Family is a relationship. The question is, Chris, and we'll probably need another segment for this, is how do we define who we're going to let into our family circles?
We at one point in culture, man, and it's still good today, there began to be this phrase called mastermind groups. And in a mastermind group, the basic concept of a mastermind group is that you get people from varied experiences, you have a subject or a topic or something, and you get multiple people to look at that problem to come up with a solution. So it's not just like-minded people, because there's a bunch of differences. But what you do, you look at the same problem, whatever it is, and you get different perspectives.
Right.
I think when we start developing our family culture, and we're talking about relationships, we have to accept diversity, points of view, because where you come from is not necessarily where I come from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about even in marital relationships. You're not from the same place. That person that you're married to had a totally different life before they got with you. So all of a sudden you think that person should forget about where they came from, forget about those experiences. No, we shouldn't do that. We should be able to embrace experiences, draw from them, get around a group of people who you can feel that are diverse enough in their experience to be a benefit to you, and allow that person to be allow that mindset to be a part of your life. Synergize off of that, move off of it, become better. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the people that don't know how to do that, we're locked down and we're inside of ourselves, and we feel that our only experience is the number one experience, and we can't be like that.
Chris, in this society, we deal with a sport culture. And there is no sport, not a one, you can't think of one, there's no sport in our culture that one individual can win by themselves. It might look like they're winning by themselves, like a Michael Phelps. He's swimming in the pool by himself. But what you can't see on the TV is that there is a coach running along the side of the pool, walking in his ear, telling him, hey, you need to speed up. You need to ease back. Even a swimmer, even a track runner, it looks like he's running track by himself. Look like he's running a 100-meter dash. In other words, God designed us to reach our place of greatness in a family structure, because he don't want us to just come up by ourselves. He wants us to bring other people up with us. We refer to Jesus all the time. And in the past 2 segments, we talked about how he went through the darkness, he went into the grave, he came out of the grave, he was a new person. He went through that dark experience. But the thing about it, as soon as he came out of the experience, Chris, he went and met up with his family.
Yes.
He met up with the disciples. He met up with the women that were his mother. He met with his family and his brothers. And he said, hey, look, I made it through, and now we're going to all come up together. And the Bible said they had a mastermind session for 40 days and 40 nights. And he began to share with them how he went through his process. God wants us to come up together. And guess what? Even though he ascended to heaven, and I'm not trying to get all preachy, but even though he ascended to heaven, guess what? Jesus could go to heaven, man, sit back, chill in the cut, and be like, you know, hey, I'm in heaven, I made it. But no, he's coming back to get his family. And so in our path to greatness, in our path to success, Chris, the relationships and the people that are around us are part of us coming into our greatness.
Listen. And you don't know how much Jesus needed those people. He needed them. Listen, there's no, in a family, everybody's input and presence is needed. If one person is taken out of the mix, there's a opening, there's a gap, there's something that's lost. Jesus said this, and we love him. He said, everybody that you've given me, Father, to keep, I've kept them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he says, the folks that were designed for my life, I took care of them. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about in Facebook Live, I got one of my good brothers on here, Alan Harris, and the Pittmans.
I see you, man. What's up, Frederick?
Yeah. So, listen, everybody's place and position in your life is meaningful. You know what I'm saying? Now, we do have to filter, because there were some folks that fell off. There's some folks that fell off in their life. You see, Mr. Mo, Brother Mo,
what's going on?
But listen, man, those people that came, some of them left, some of them stayed. But the people that left, the people that came, they all had purpose. What had to be distinct in the wisdom that Jesus had to use is to make sure that everybody had their place, and he acknowledged it and recognized it. And so we want to keep as many of the right people around us, definitely. You don't want any people that's sapping from your energy and sapping for your life. And believe me, we're talking about relationships. And so you want to keep the people that are pushers. that are elevators, that are celebrators, that are cheerleaders, people that are telling you the best about yourself, people that are honest with you, people that are builders and not breaker downers.
Hey, Chris, and you know, a lot of people talk about you need to get rid of this person and cut these people out your life. What I found out is, as we're cutting people out of our life and getting rid of people, a lot of times we don't replace them. This is what Jesus did. When Judas betrayed Jesus, he was a part of the original group, the original 12. But guess what? When Judas got cut out of the group, when he left the group, they replaced him with a guy named Matthias. In other words, as you evaluate who your family is and the people around you, yeah, you might have to separate yourself from some people, put some distance, cut a few people off and cut them out. But then you need to find positive people to replace those, because you need a family. A man that keeps cutting away at his own family, after a while is going to be by himself. And anybody that's a leader or somebody great walking by themselves is just a man out for a walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got to be careful. When you cut away, you need to replace and you need to add.
Adding is always, it's value added. You know, who's adding a value to your life? What situations are adding value to your life are all important areas of building positive relationships. That's what we're talking about. You know, we're talking about doing those things. Somebody said, Natasha said, everybody in your life serves a purpose. Be mindful of who you cut off. Timing is everything. There are some people that are not going to go. Thank you, Tosh, for saying that. There are some people that are not going to go to the next phases in life with you. But it doesn't mean that they were unuseful. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that that part of the journey that they were not, should receive, if they shouldn't receive the credit for what they did in your life. Even past hurts, past things. Listen, we're going to come back to this analogy. A threefold cord is not easily broken. But listen to this. If I only had 3 things in my life to think about, I would be powerful and I'd be amazing. But my life is made up more than that.
Right.
Every cord is necessary for the strength of your life. You know what I'm saying? Every hurt, every disappointment, everything, person that's come and goes, help you to understand in the next phase and the next time, like Natasha was saying, the next time of your life, you can draw from that and you can be the better because of it.
I like what Mofino said, Chris, live selflessly and God will put people in your path. He'll put people in your path that will be a blessing to you and that will help you. A lot of times we mess up, Chris, because we overlook the people that God is trying to send, and we a lot of times bring people into our life that we don't need.
They're not the right people at the right time.
Yeah, man.
Listen.
Can we give them some love, man? We got 30 seconds in this beautiful studio, and let's end it with words of love.
Well, listen, man, I think as we all look at our relationships and even as we grow, one of the words of love I want to say is that you are special. Don't discount that word. You deserve love. You are warranted love. You were created in love, and you were created to be loved. So let's lean in God, lean to the love of God, not our own understanding, and we'll have great things in our life.
Hey, this is Brother to Brother. We're here in the studio. You see the green screen, big camera. We're going to get back with you guys doing another segment. Love you. God bless you. See you soon.
Say my faith is stronger than it's ever been before, and I will forever